Well, speaking of sharing, one of the greatest things, or probably I would say the greatest thing on your YouTube channel, which of course people can find at
James Hargreaves Guitar.
Yes, and if you don't know how to spell that, you will find the link below in the YouTube clips. Or if you listen to the audio version with all this class music in the background, you will find that on there, James had a fucking fantastic interview with Tom Meehan. Is that how his name is pronounced?
Yeah, Meehan, I think. Meehan.
Meehan. About an insanely controversial thing where it was about 2 or 3 years ago. It was announced that he'd been fired from Kasabian. There was accusations where he had of spousal abuse. All this shit came out. But since then, more details have come out. They're really saying that not like Tom's a saint on earth, but he really got fucked over.
Yeah.
And
he did.
Yeah, and it is crazy. And again, we're not saying that he's squeaky clean and that it wasn't his fault for shit that happened.
Yeah, but none of us are squeaky clean. None of us are. That's the thing.
I am.
All right. No one apart from you, Husey, is squeaky clean.
Thank you.
But we've all fucked up. We've all done stupid shit. And he was they were doing like tours that dragged on for a year and a half and powering through on cocaine. I mean, his brain was frazzled, and then we went bang straight into a lockdown. Something I've started really just saying, do you know what, fuck it, I'm speaking up on this, is on these kind of Twitter pylons and these sort of executions of people in the media. So often people like Tom are just hung out to dry because it means that news sites get clicks, and so they get money from the ads. People can post something like, fuck Tom Meehan on Twitter and get 10,000 likes and feel good about it, But there's a human being behind all that. There's a person with feelings and a family, and do you know what I mean? And a lot of the stuff on my channel, if I go into something that's a bit controversial, so often I never come out sticking the boot in. I come out saying, well, let's just flipping step back and consider the facts, rather than just piling on and beating the shit out of someone who's already down. Do you know what I mean? And that was very much how I felt about the Tom thing. But the biggest thing about Tom and what happened to him was the testimony of his wife, the victim, and how she didn't want to press bloody charges and the police ignored her. And something I said to Tom when we talked was, I got in a fight in a pub, and I said, look, and afterwards we decided, sod it, we're not going to press charges, let's just move on. And the police dropped it, but because he was famous and they were afraid of getting strung up for, why haven't you prosecuted this, this, that, and the other, they ignored Vicky, the victim. They ignored her wishes and took Tom to court. I mean, the whole thing is absolutely perverse. The whole thing is just arse covering with no consideration for the human being at the bottom of it. Because one day could be anyone. You know what I mean? I try and even stick up for someone who I think is a complete bellend. Do you know what I mean? Because even if I don't like someone, even if I think someone's a twat, I'm not going to go, string them up if I don't think the evidence is there. Do you know what I mean? Because we've lost a bit of flipping decency when it comes to how we treat musicians in this country.
100%. And the whole thing about that Tom controversy, which drove me mad, is that literally everybody around Kasabian was interviewed and did interviews talking shit about Tom, apart from his wife. And it's like, well, don't you think she would maybe be a pretty good source of information? I mean, the fact that they got married after that and all, like, I just think that he got completely fucked over.
Oh, yeah, he did.
And I think that he did get a little bit of a win in that. Since he left Kasabian put out a new album, which, and I'm saying this as a Kasabian fan, it's not good. And Tom put out a solo album, and it's fucking excellent. And I'm, lovely stuff. Oh, by the way, and I met him at that gig, and I told him I told him you were talking shit about him. But yeah, and I just think that it's gotten really nasty to the point that it seems like, to me, there was a fallout on tour that just went on and on and on, to the point that they were like, well, what can we do to get him out? And I've also got to say that when you look back at the last two Kasabian albums, they're basically duet albums, because Serge sings so much. It's him and Tom singing at the same time. Serge was getting a load of solo or lead tracks on the album. And then live, it was so much about Serge too. Yeah. I think that Serge basically was becoming jealous of not being the frontman. And while they've done big shows, I think that in the long run, people are starting to see that they do need Tom back in the band. And also, what do you think, with all the drama and all this shit, what do you think is the realistic possibilities that Tom may one day return to the band?
I don't know, because so we, on that side of things, on Kasabian being bastards, I just I ain't got both sides of the story. I like Tom. I've got a lot of respect for him, but my big thing was Tom and the justice system and how he was just trampled underfoot. With Kasabian, I like Kasabian and I like Tom. And that Tom's album there, I think that is one of the best rock albums this year, hands down. Banan, the guitarist who helped him write it, talented geezer. Really, I mean, the songs are so great. None of this nursery rhyme shit that most of the pop music is. Really creative. It sounds like Rage Against the Machine in places. Fantastic. I think that is as good as some of the best of Kasabian. So, in a sense, we're in a bit of a Liam Noel situation in that Tom doesn't need him. I don't know. The general consensus has been that Serge is not as good as Tom. Kasabian are not Kasabian without Tom. So it's a bit like Kasabian are Kasabian 2.0, just like Oasis became after Bonehead, Grigsby, Owen Morris, Brian Cannon, all them guys were out of the fold. Kasabian has still got the same name, but it's not the same band.
Yeah, and do you remember Serge did that solo album?
Yeah.
And it just didn't take off, and it didn't work. And it's like, well, why is the main songwriter of a band doing a solo album when technically Kasabian albums are solo albums if he's writing all the songs? And I just think that this was like the opportunity they took advantage of to get him out. And the fact that they allegedly paid Tom off to get him out of the Kasabian company, so that he's now not getting royalties and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, he didn't sign it though. He didn't do it, but they tried apparently. According to him, they tried. Yeah.
Oh well, good, because that would have been a bad fucking move. And I don't know. I just think that I think the Kasabian badly needs Tom, and I think it's going to be that sort of thing where, and this is going to sound stupid. You remember when, and this was a tough day in your life, when Robbie Williams left Take That? Do you remember?
I remember fans spitting at the Gallaghers when they came into an airport because they blamed them for. I don't really remember much about Take That, but I do remember that fans blaming the Gallaghers for the split up and spitting at them in an airport. I remember that,
as they should, because how dare they break up the greatest band of all time?
Bastards!
Yeah, you two. But I think it's going to end up kind of being like that, where when Robbie Williams left Take That, a lot of people are like, right, we'll see you. You're done. You're never going to go on. But then he went on to do this solo shit that took a minute to get big, but it got really big in the end, while Take That sort of maintained and sort of started to fade away before they split up. And I think Serge is going to be Gary Barlow.
You might be onto something with Tom getting bigger than Kasabian were. If they can keep up the quality of the music they're writing, that album is fucking shit hot. If they can keep that quality up, have you seen him live? You've seen him live. You just told me. Yeah. Amazing live. What a show! I mean, outstanding. If he can just keep that momentum going, you may well be right.
Yeah, because the thing is, Tom can genuinely sing his arse off. Like he's got a frontman voice. And Serge, again, I'm a Kasabian fan. I have every album they've done. I've seen Kasabian live. Jesus, nearly 8 times. Probably only 5. Can't do math. But Serge is not a frontman, and he has a weak voice, and you can't sing "I'm on Fire" when you sound fucking room temperature.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not in the Tom versus Kasabian thing. I'm just not until I get the chance to speak to Kasabian. You know what I mean? But it would be amazing if there's a lot of bloody healing to do there. Like, they didn't ring him on his 40th birthday. Do you know what I mean? These they were childhood friends. They didn't send him congrats on his wedding. Nothing. So I mean, bloody hell! I think they've got a worse, more fucked up relationship than Liam and Noel. Like, Liam and Noel are just being belligerent, or just pulling the wool over our eyes to amp things through the roof. But when I spoke to Tom, I mean, he's a sweet guy. He's a solid geezer, but there's a kind of a vulnerable part to him, and I think he was hurt. I think he was quite badly hurt. These were his childhood friends. They'd been out, adventuring on the high seas of rock and roll, and they just dropped him like a hot rock. Weren't interested in his wedding. Weren't interested in his 40th birthday. He's tried to make contact with them, and they've just ignored him. Apparently, I mean, again, I've only got one side of the story, but there's some bloody healing to be done there. If they ever were to, I don't see it. I think there's some wounds that are a bit too deep. I don't see it. It would be amazing, but I don't see it.
Yeah, it definitely seems way more personal. But at the same time, I thought that the song on the album, "The Reckoning," the title track, I thought that may be the best song of the year. I thought it was unbelievable because, I think it's the final song. And
what do you think of Acrobat?
I loved the whole album.
Yeah.
Why did you like Acrobat?
Oh, amazing.
Oh, then I didn't like it.
Acrobat and Deep Dive for me.
Yeah, those are my.
Sorry, go on.
Yeah, I was just reading online. It says that those are the wimpiest 2 songs for big girls. It said they're in this NME article. But there you go.
You cheeky bastard. You fucking cheeky bastard.
Hello, Peggy Gallagher.